Hey there, this is Therese Skelly, and I am so excited that you are going to be listening to an episode of the Fiercely Brilliant podcast. Do you like those two words? Fiercely Brilliant. My hypothesis is that you are here for a reason. We all are. Our souls have led us on journeys that have very often taken some twists and turns, and sometimes it's not pretty. Sometimes there's struggle and there's loss and there's challenge, and in the middle of that, there's always a way out. And it's those times that often lead us into our great life and work. So you're going to hear stories in these episodes of myself and other beautiful people that share the journey. They share how they got to the place where they're standing, working in their brilliance, and being the powerful leaders that they are. So stay tuned and enjoy this episode. Hey, this is Therese Skelly, and it's another episode of the Fiercely Brilliant podcast, where I get to bring you people that have gone through amazing transformation stories. Because in all the stories, there are nuggets. There are things that you can, maybe you haven't had the exact same experience, but there is so much wisdom in people's journeys. And so today, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to introduce you to Charlene Norman. Charlene and I have connected recently, and I think I'm in love. I'm just going to say it right now. We are going to give you some juicy stuff. And so Charlene, just thank you, number one, for who you are in the world, who you are to me. And I'm delighted that you are here.
I am thrilled to be here, my dear. Absolutely thrilled.
Thanks, love. So why don't you tell people what you do in the world, in the business world, right? And what you love about it.
So let me go back to when I was 20 years old. I had a fantasy at 20.
Okay.
My fantasy was to win the $25 million lottery, take $2 million and put that to my retirement, $23 million, and dole it out to small business owners and entrepreneurs. The terms, as little interest as possible, the most flexible payment plans possible. The caveat was they needed me to be with them to advise them. Now, okay, do we know any 20-year-olds who can advise businesses? I don't. And the thing with lotteries is you got to buy a ticket, and I've never bought a lottery ticket in my life. So you can see that this whole thing was doomed to begin with, except if I look back at my career, the only thing I can say about my career is, okay, got tons and tons of very impressive, massive experience. And 12 years ago, I said, I don't have the $25 million, but I can now advise businesses. And that's what I do.
Advise businesses. But think of you're a couple decades past 20, right?
Yes, a couple, yes.
A couple. And yet the seeds were there. Like, that's crazy for a 25-year-old. Because usually 25-year-olds were like, I want a yacht. I want to, you know what I mean? And for you to have the knowing, that's kind of crazy.
I have known this from probably the time I was 8, that I was the one that everybody needed, and I had a brain and I was going to use it. But it was about 20 when I said, this is what I want to do. And I'm truly amazed. That's what I'm doing.
And I know you have had a really impressive career. Like you're underselling. Like, you have helped businesses grow millions and millions. And I mean, you're not like small potatoes.
No.
So go ahead, brag a little bit. Just brag about throw some.
Okay,
okay, I'm twisting your arm. Go ahead. Because we need to hear that. Like, I number one, not a lot of women at 20 can show up and say, I have brains, I got this. You're a freak of nature, because you're probably around the same age, right? We were raised with
you're raised not to do that.
Exactly. And so, like, ding, ding, ding. Hello. I feel like an archaeologist with pair of binoculars going, holy shit, we found one. So anyway, so talk a little bit about what you've done.
I was the bossy girl, the bossy lady. And so I figured out how to play the woman's side through all the male stuff. And I eventually became the number one person running $35 million revenue companies up to almost $1 billion in revenue. So I was the grand poobah.
Damn.
It was fun.
That was fun. Unfortunately, you know what? You're going to have to come back and talk about that story, because today's episode is not that. As much as I'm like, shit, we scheduled the wrong episode, but you'll just have to do another one. But gang, so listen to this. Okay, so you heard the energy. You heard, and I'm assuming, even though you said you were a female, I'm assuming to get to that plane in the men's world, if you will,
you had to run a lot of masculine energy. You had to be an alpha female. You had to push and drive and get stuff done. Is that right?
Yes, I did. And it wasn't until I was maybe in my 40s that I said, I think I can soften it a bit. But you're in a man's world, you play by the rules that are there. And you can think differently, you can act differently, you can deliver the results a million times better than anyone else. But at the bottom line, you're playing their game.
So the story for this episode is actually what happened to you. So you were in the pinnacle. You're like creating billions of dollars. And then what happened?
I woke up in the last week of February 2015. My husband leaned over to me and he said, "Oh, honey, it's so wonderful. Yeah, hello. Hey, listen, no, don't worry. You're in the hospital. And hey, you've had a stroke, and but you're okay, and I'm going to go get the doctor." And he left. And
wow,
I'm a very vain woman. So I put my hand up to my face. Okay, that seems to be okay. And
the important
fine,
things,
got that happening. There's no mirrors, but okay. And then this big no was screaming in my brain, because it was like, there's no freaking way I've had a stroke. That does not happen to people like me. And my husband is crazy and whatever else. Well, the truth was, my husband had lied to me. What I had was a viral infection, streptococcal meningitis, big word. What it does is it strips all the oxygen out of your brain and your spine. So without oxygen, your body goes into seizures and then strokes, and then you can die. I had 2 seizures, I had 2 strokes, and they put me in a coma for a week. And the odds of recovering are not that great. You got a 50-50 chance. But I'll tell you, the thing that kept my brain functioning at some level was this big no that was in my consciousness somewhere, that I was not disabled. I had been chief breadwinner for my entire life, and I was not going to be beholden to my husband. My husband was never going to have to look after this disabled woman, and there was not a goddamn thing wrong with me. And I was going to get through this. Wow. And I'm not trained as a doctor. I have no medical training whatsoever, and I don't know what I'm talking about, seriously, but I'm telling myself, no. And so bottom line was, I couldn't talk. I could barely walk. I could not string sentences together, words together. I could feed myself a little bit, but I was basically pretty bad.
Yeah.
And inside of 3 months, my doctors were saying, okay, you're a medical miracle. What the hell are you doing? And why are you doing this and no one else has done this? And what I had done was I had taken every single stitch of knowledge that I had learned to get to the top of the pinnacle in business, and I just turned it on myself. And I became the world's worst patient.
Which is probably a good thing. That probably saved you, right?
Yes, it probably did. It probably did. What it did was it got me physically healed inside of about a year. And so one of the things when you have, these are called brain injuries or whatever, one of the things you're supposed to do is go back to your doctor every year, your neurologist every year. So I did. And it's 6 years now, and they still call me a medical miracle. Well, from a physical point of view, it was a lot of work. It was hell on earth. It was bloody awful, but I was determined, like every other thing I'd ever done in my life. I want that. That's my picture. I'm going after it. But the piece that I never thought of, the piece that haunted me, and it's only in the last year that I can say that I am now like at 150% of what I was. The piece that I never thought of was the mental piece. And no disrespect to any medical professional, there was no attention paid to the mental well-being. Everything was physical. Okay, absolutely. I get that. Yeah. I ended up having to discover how to cure my brain. And it was thoughts. It wasn't that my brain wasn't functioning, it was thoughts and how to get through that. I ended up doing a really deep dive into, okay, now I need to understand neurology. Now I need to know how the brain will now I need to know about NLP. Now I need to know about hypnosis.
Right.
So I went through a couple of years of studying everything that I could, because that's me.
Yeah.
And I finally came to, okay, so the 4 inches between our ears is the absolute best piece of real estate that we own.
That's
Full
what
stop.
you invest in. Right.
And you know that our thoughts are our reality. So my reality, inside of after the first year, my reality was I couldn't go and get a job because I still wasn't completely functioning as this high-powered whatever. So, okay, now now if I don't have a job, that means that the number one breadwinner is disqualified from this for the time being. Okay, we now have to sell our house, the house that we lived in for almost 30 years. Okay, so now we have to scale down and get smaller and move. And that was the thing that knocked me on my keister, was everything that I had built over my entire career, everything that I had worked for my entire life was stripped from me.
Yeah.
I had nothing to do with it. It was just the rug was taken completely away. And worse, when you make all your dreams, or you make it to a certain point in whatever you want to say your life, and you come crashing down to the bottom through no wrongdoing of your own, there's a huge amount of shame that's attached to that.
I want to talk about that. I know you mentioned that when we first talked. And so, because I wonder if a lot of people that have a medical crisis or have something, life stops you, maybe your kid is struggling or there's a death or something. I don't know that people feel shame. And so it's curious to me that that's the first thing you felt. So I want to unpack that a little bit, because shame is, the sense that who you are is wrong. Something's wrong with you. You're defective, right? So talk about how that showed up.
So let me step back for a second. I had lived my entire life with the kahunas of the biggest guy out there. No one was going to beat me, not one. I had lived with full confidence on anything. It didn't matter. Nothing fazed me. Sure, I might get a little nervous. I might get a little freaked out of it, but
you could conquer everything.
I can conquer.
Yes.
I'd never met a problem that I couldn't solve.
Ooh.
This one I couldn't solve. This one I could not solve. And my usual, okay, we're just going at 'em. My usual, just push forward. It didn't work.
Right.
When you spend, at least for me, having spent my entire life knocking off 99% of every one of the dreams that I wanted, reaching way past
and exceeding
all the goals that I ever wanted. And now, shit, I can't keep with my house. I got to downsize. I have to move. I can't go get a job right away. My husband has to look after me, which was a real, it wasn't, he was looking after me physically. He had to work. And I've never, ever, ever in my life, except when I was a kid, been dependent on anybody. I had been independent since I was 19.
I hear it's almost like your identity was just like, who the hell am I? This is not me. Like, wait. So
that's exactly it.
You and I bonded around the conversation of an alpha woman and how alpha women, when they're stopped, freak the fuck out, basically, because you're giving the exact picture of you were your identity. You were your accomplishments, your income, your impact. You were the person that unequivocally knew, I'll make that happen. Now, a number of years later, would you say this happened for you? Would you say, again, good things came out of it? Has it changed you? And I know that's a lot of questions, so just go whatever direction you want to go. Because what I always want to people know is that you're not a victim. Yes, circumstances suck, things are hard, and you can turn it into something good for you. And I know that you've done that. So let's get into that part of the journey, how you kind of got on the other side.
I would have to say for the first 3 years after, I was the wife from hell. You're absolutely right. Your identity is all tied up in what you accomplish. Your identity is wrapped up in all the wrong things. And so I yelled at my husband all the time. I don't yell. My husband and I have a very strong marriage.
Yeah.
But I yelled at him all the time. And it was out of sheer frustration. Who had I become?
Right,
I had no identity.
Right.
I had a no identity. And he could look at me and tell me he loved me. And I say, yeah, you're crazy. Like, why? Like,
did you feel unlovable because you weren't generating?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So isn't that interesting? Is if I'm not doing, I'm not enough.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, it was. So I need to back up. Mm-hmm. What I have gone through, honestly, I think everybody goes through when you lose a job, when you get divorced, when you're hit with cancer, and all the other goddamn awful shit that comes our way. And I've learned, whatever shit comes your way is not there to happen to you. It's there for another reason. It's there for you. Yeah. And it took me, I'll be honest, it took me a long time to figure out why me, what the hell. And it wasn't because I thought I was special and I shouldn't be hit. Mm-hmm. What I couldn't understand was, how can I be at this level and now I'm at this level and I can't even get the grip to go back up again. And why is this? Right.
So it's like the piece. The you that you knew, she was never going to come back again.
No. Okay. And I was, and here's one thing that you can get really focused on. Every person I would meet, I would say, "Hey, how are you? Nice to meet you." I didn't know these people. And they'd ask me a little bit. And I said, "Well, yeah, but I used to be able to argue like a lawyer. I used to be able to go nonstop, but now I can't." Now imagine you meet this woman and this is all she talks about right up front. It was my identity and who the hell I was worth, or what I was not worth. That's what was so shaming. What was shaming was I couldn't do anything myself. What was shaming was the worst thing that I could ever imagine had happened, and that was I was dependent on my husband's income to keep me going. It was a journey. It was messy. And the only advice that I can give anyone for going through all that shit is just shut up.
Tough talk here. Shut up.
Pay attention.
Yeah.
That down the road, you're going to get through this. And although you don't understand it right now, there's always a reason. That is my best advice, which is no advice. I understand that. But what I learned was, and I had a reading, I don't know, maybe a year and a half ago or so. Anyways, the universe has a sense of humor, as we all know. Mm-hmm. And the whole reason for me getting knocked on my ass was to take some things away so that a whole pile more goodness can be added on.
Oof.
When I heard that, I went, well, of course.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But it was awful. There's no other way to describe it. To get rid of most of that ego gunk that had accumulated over the years, to pry apart the onion skin, to find the goodness of what it was that I had, that everyone had loved since I was a kid, because we put so many masks on ourselves and we suction cup our own worlds right to our faces. We don't even recognize what we've become. And when I say that it happened for me, it happened to make me a better version of what I was. I was happy that there is no obvious outward signs of having a stroke. I'm thrilled about that. Because I couldn't talk and I had to learn how to do this, I ended up getting the gift of being able to listen deeply. You'd never know that with this conversation right now, but in my former life, I was a good listener, but this time I can now shut up.
Yeah.
You can be present. I can deeply listen. Yes, I can be present. That's exactly it. Where I used to say, okay, so business is all about money and money is this. Well, honestly, I had gotten so bored making millionaires because money does not make people better. When I finally figured out, okay, this is what I want to do, I said, I'll show you all the tricks to be a millionaire. But what I want to know is, in your heart, are you planning to make an impact in the world? Or do you just want to have all the accoutrements that we've been so used to? And they've actually turned down business if people want it for the extra house or the cottage, the airplane. No, I've been there, done that. You're not going to be happy, but you'll be very happy if you want to make an impact. And then the other thing is, I don't care who you are in whatever business you're in. It's not about your business first. It's about you, the person first.
Yes. Preaching to the choir. Absolutely.
I never did that before, and I never put the two and two together. So I had to be smacked across the head
I don't think smacked. I think you were thrown down and stomped.
Oh yeah,
okay. you were okay. So I want to go back because the trauma of this for you was not the physical, was not the loss of the income as much as the identity that you were. Like, that's the kicking and screaming. That's the like, whoa. Because a lot of other people be like, oh, that's fine. My husband can support me. That I'm good with that. And so let's talk about the identity piece, because again, it doesn't have to take you have a big scale. Holy shit. You literally couldn't talk. You were, everything was stripped away, including your words and your ability the cognitive ability you had, everything was stripped away. But what if somebody's going through a micro version of that? You know, maybe somebody got sick in their family, or maybe they lost something or whatever. What would you say if somebody is like starting over with forging an identity? Because that's what you had to do.
It's never, ever going to take as long as you think it is. It's going to take you 5 times longer. It's 5 times. I'm probably the most impatient person. So to get me 2015 is 2021. I mean, really and truly, what's 3 or 4 years, 5 years maybe is nothing. But
in your mind, it was decades
far too long.
Yeah.
Like come on, like forget it.
Okay. I'm gonna say maybe not. Like from your worldview. To me, it's a pivot. Like, it's angled, right? You can also start like, who do I want to be in the moment? Maybe not fully completed. Like, we're talking about an overachieving superhero in Charlene. Right? So she wants it done, fixed, and so I don't want people to go, well, shit, it was going to take years. So I want people to know the both, right?
So here's what does work.
Okay.
This is really hard.
Yeah.
Trust me, this is really hard. Take yourself out of the equation. Step back, try and get 75,000 feet above the sea level. Try and look down at yourself and you say, well, that really sucks. But look at all the good that's going on. This is hard to do, but that's the first step, is look at what's positive in your world. Every single day, I've always been an optimistic person, incredibly optimistic, but every single day I would say, well, this went right.
Yeah.
This went right.
Good.
And it could be as simple as, hey, I walked 5 steps, or I walked around the block, or I did the laundry, or anything silly, but, and I also said, although I never told my husband this, never, every single day I said, thank God my husband hasn't left me. Oh, that was important, because why would I stay with somebody that did this, right? My husband loves me, and he's showing me he loves me in his way. So the first step is to just it's not about you. It really isn't. Everybody has shit happen at various parts of their lives. We're all going to get knocked down. So take a deep breath and focus on what's good. The next piece, give yourself space.
That must have been hard for you, love. I'll bet that was very hard for you.
Oh, very hard.
Yeah,
very hard.
yeah.
But when I say give yourself space, be kind to yourself. The Rome wasn't built in a day. Well, you know what? Getting back to wherever you want to be is not going to happen right away. So be kind to yourself. The third thing for me, I had to learn how to receive.
I was wondering. Okay.
People would try and help me, and I'd shoo them away because, you know, I'm Superwoman, and I'd done that all my life, and people relied on me. So now I'm weak, and you want to help me? No, I'm still strong. No, I wasn't. Yes. I had a neighbor across the most wonderful neighbor. She was worried about me. She said, Char, let's go for a walk. Every day we'll go for a walk for 15 minutes. I got to the point that I look forward to those walks with her because she never asked anything of me other than to walk around the block. That's it. And it took a long time for me to receive that kindness from someone else. She didn't want anything. All she wanted was And when you start receiving, when you start allowing yourself to receive, suddenly the world looks so much better. You realize that people want to help you. People are not pitying you. This is one thing, okay? You always figure people are pitying you. No, people are not pitying you. People want to help you. They want to get under your armpits and pull you up a bit. They want to help. They're scared to ask you, especially me, because I would snap their heads up. So they're scared to say the wrong thing. But if you just let them, which is hard, but if you let people in, it's amazing what can happen. And the other thing that took me a while to come to grips with was, I don't want to talk about religion because I'm not religious and that's a bad topic for me, but I started to pay attention to the universe. I started to pay attention to the messages that I was receiving intuitively, which I got to tell you, 5 years ago, I would have said, I would never talk about intuition, never in a million years.
Right.
Hell no. And for women, learning to trust ourselves, learning to trust our hearts, learning to say, yeah, that feels right, as opposed to, oh my God, that hurts like hell.
Yeah.
That's a big lesson. And you can't learn that overnight. It takes a while.
Right.
It's
invaluable. No, those are fabulous. Those are fabulous. You know, it's just, you are, can I say, the poster child of what I talk about, of a very high achieving woman who is, number one, props to you for conquering, for just knowing, to have the tenacity and the fierceness just to go, I'm freaking going for it and getting it, and all the things that you had to overcome and the person you had to be, and then for losing it. And what I'm hearing you say is, there are things that I have grown into that have been gifted to me that I never would have had I not had this pause, if you will, right? Like the universe saw fit to stop you in your tracks, to kind of recalibrate some things in you. And it's a tough journey, but I love, like, you're such a shining light today, love, of like, what the frick is possible if you don't fight it. And what you started with is saying, I am not my diagnosis. I am not a disability. I am not the limits these freaking doctors are going to put on me. I will rise above that. And so you still could use the fierceness, but for yourself. So there's just so much yummy richness in there. Do you want to say anything else about that?
I never really thought about using past experience in other areas and turning it on ourselves. But I think it's important, especially for strongish women, to realize that, this is going to sound so corny.
Corny's good. Go ahead.
we never get anything we can't handle. And the stronger the woman, the
all
more
the damn platitudes, right? Here we go. Bring it on. Go ahead. Go ahead.
The stronger the woman, the worse shit she's got to handle to somehow or other prove herself to get over to the next level of whatever she's to be. It's true.
You and I
every
are
single
like
strong woman I know,
sisters.
Yeah.
I know.
The strong men. I mean, we won't go there. Okay, so strong. You're gonna have shit. So everyone's gonna have shit, no question. But as we go along in life, whatever we're doing, when we're strong, we're actually amassing a bunch of skills that we don't even think about. That when the going gets really goddamn awful, we'll pull it out and we don't think about it. We just say, okay, well, that worked. Yes. Here's my toolkit. I'm going for it. Mm-hmm. And it's my experience. Women underestimate themselves.
So much so. Absolutely. Or they tie their worth, like you did, to what you achieved.
Exactly.
Right? And who you could be in the world. So who are you without kicking ass? Who are you without all the accomplishments? And you got to discover that. And you're still discovering, right? You're still,
and I'm still discovering.
Your business looks different today, right? So everything is different. And you show up. You're not, what I love about you is that you're not like, I'm sorry, I went through this, I'm not enough. You're like, you're still bold and sassy. Like, like you still, yay.
Yeah. Now, okay. Now I have to admit, I always do things with a practical bent. So after the first year, I wrote a speech and I said, okay, people need to know this shit. Wow. So I said, okay, here's what you do. Here's how you get your mind. And here's how I thought it was the mind. I was wrong. But here's how to get your body. Here's the 6 winning steps to goal and your mindset and blah, blah, blah. And I got tired. I got tired of all people saying, oh, you're marvelous. You're wonderful. How could you do this? And I'm thinking, that's not what I want to hear. What I want to hear is, damn, woman, I'm going to kick ass and I'm going to be like you. So I stopped talking about it. And I thought, well, people tell me I'm marvelous all the time. That's not what I want to do. So that's just going to make me, I went small again. And one day I thought, you know what? I own this. This is me. This is part of whoever I'm gonna hit you with this. We all live a very beautiful tapestry, and it's part of us. And to say no, to say I'm not enough, or sorry about this. Mm-hmm. No, you have to stand in your own power. You have to reclaim your own power. It's a journey. It's messy. It's fucking awful. But when you get to the other side, you can stand there and proudly say, I did it.
And inspire the people that are going through the same thing. That's what the show is about, right? And so I say, you didn't heal yourself. You didn't go through this to keep it quiet. You didn't go through this just for you and your husband to have a 5-year crazy land. You went through this to be the inspiration, to be the lighthouse for other people that are going, who the hell am I now that I'm not making millions, right? And so I love this story because it shows that we want to keep, who cares? It's just, I don't want it about me. It's not about you. Your story is lived through you for other people, right?
That's exactly it. And if I can say one thing, if anyone's going through this, no matter what
the thing is,
doesn't matter. We're all normal. This is normal shit. We were never told this. We were never taught this. We all manage it completely differently, but we're all normal. We're not deformed. We're not damaged. This is normal stuff. And if you look at it, you just got another gold ribbon. That's all this is.
That's awesome. Oh, you're so yummy. Our talking isn't done. We're going to stay in touch because you're just so delightful. But what if folks want to follow you, Charlene? Because I know that I know you also talked about that 6-step thing. So tell them where they can get that and then where to follow you.
So in the link below should be, if you want my 6 steps to a winning mindset, which is the physical piece, not the mental piece, is what I did, what I think. I'm happy to share that with anybody, and that's in the link below. If you want to follow me, best place is on LinkedIn. I play there every single day.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I'm easy enough to find.
Perfect.
Just reach out.
That's fabulous. Oof. You have, your story is going to inspire people. I know that. I absolutely know
hope
that.
so.
Yeah. And
I hope so. If it inspires one person to say, God damn it, I'm worth it and I can get through this.
that's it. We did our job. All right.
Good job.
Oof, loves, what a show. Wow. I'm going to ask you to send this around. If you're listening to this and you have somebody in your life that's going through a hard time, I want you to send it to them because, I think I can speak for Charlene and I. We want to inspire other people to say, you can get through it. Like Charlene said, you're not broken. This is normal. There's a path, right? So make sure you share this episode with people and reach out to myself or Charlene. And it has been a delight, darling. Mwah! Love and hugs.
Mwah.
Love and hugs.
Thank you, darling.
Have a great rest of your week. Bye now.
Hey, this is Therese, and I'm so excited that you were with us today for another episode of the Fiercely Brilliant podcast. If you are inspired to get to that brilliant place, if you heard some wisdom today that made you think, yeah, I need some help in that area, I would encourage you to have a conversation with me. Super simple. You just go to thereseskelly.com/let's connect. It's a no charge, no pressure conversation. And if I can support you to clear the blocks, to really step into that brilliance, oh my gosh, it would be a delight. And I'll be honest with you, we'll just have a great conversation and see where we can take it. Peace and blessings. Bye.